Hey guys, how's it going? Exotics SFL here, and welcome to the Porsche 911 Carrara. Now, I'm not gonna do any crazy intro, I'm just gonna get straight to it. The Porsche 911 is the best sports car ever made, and here's why. The best sports car, it's a big claim, and a lot of people stand by it. Porsche 911 has had an amazing history behind it, which is a good reason to buy this car alone. It's just the heritage of this car. But there's so much more to this car than just the heritage. First of all, the bizarreness of this car. First of all, the engine's in the back, which at first was very bizarre, and then it defied the laws of physics. But over time, Porsche kept perfecting the rear engine design, and now they created the Porsche 911 as it is today. Back in the day, the Porsche 911 was a very scary car to drive, especially the turbo. Those things were just monsters because they were really tricky to control, but nowadays they're very easy to drive, to the point where your dentist drives one most likely. Oh, that sound too, definitely a good selling point. So let me go through some stats first to just get it out of the way. Porsche 911 has a 3.4 liter flat six, making 350 horsepower and 287 pound-feet of torque, and it has a 0 to 60 time of 4.4 seconds, and it has a top speed of 179 miles an hour on the Autobahn, obviously. So there are your stats for you guys. Back to the video. This particular car is a 2014 with 21,200 miles on it. And it's just the base Carrara, not even the 4S, not the S, not even the 4. It is just the plain old Carrara 2. And you know what? I kind of like that because this is the bread and butter of a sports car. It's like pasta. You can add so much more to this car. For example, you can get the turbo version of this car, which has almost 600 horsepower, all-wheel drive, is one of the best daily sports cars in the world. And shut up. An officer up there. Shut up! Someone got pulled over. That's not good. What car got pulled over? Let's take a look and see. An Infiniti QX60, the minivan, got pulled over. Oh, not a good day for them. Now, this particular 911 is the 991 generation. Now, for normal people, they don't know what that even means. So what it is it's Porsche's code name for the chassis of the car. So the previous generation to this car was the 997, around like the 2004, I think, to like 2012 or something like that. So this is not the newest anymore, but it was the newest, and this car got a lot of hate from a lot of Porsche purists because it was wider, it was longer, and it had electric steering. Now, electric steering was the big controversy of this whole car. Now, I've not driven a 997, but I can pretty much tell you that the steering in this car is pretty fantastic. It's super direct. You steer it, and the car goes where you want it to go. It's so precise. I don't really have a problem with the electric steering, to be honest. The electric steering is great. And I've never driven a hydraulic steering. I can imagine it has a lot more feel. This car, to be honest, you don't really get the vibrations of a hydraulic steering rack. However, it is super nice. It's super direct. It's super precise, and it feels really good. And I've heard that Porsche's been perfecting it ever since this car launched with the 991.2 generation and the all-new 992, which I actually haven't really seen any yet, except for one at the Porsche dealership. Oh, that sounds so good. Oh. It just reminds me of when I was playing Forza, and now like I'm driving a car with this familiar sound. Oh my god, it sounds so good. Alright, so I'm gonna talk about the transmission in this car because they're both fantastic. The base transmission that I have here is a 7-speed manual, Porsche's first implication of a 7-speed manual in their car, and actually the first implication of a 7-speed manual in the entire car industry and in the world. Corvette obviously has one, I think, well, it had one. I don't know if they're having a manual anymore. That will be soon to come. for an extra $2,000, you can get the PDK transmission, which I've heard by like every car journalist that is like the most amazing dual clutch transmission in the world, because a lot of dual clutch transmissions are very jerky, especially like in the BMW M5 and the M3. And I've been in an M3 quite a bit with my friend, and it's very jerky. But I've been told by a lot of people that they prefer the 6-speed manual in the GT3 and the older Porsches, like the 997, but I've never driven those. But I'll tell you, man, this transmission is really good. The clutch, I almost stalled there. So the transmission, the actual gear change itself is super notchy and super quick, short throws. It's probably one of the best transmissions I've ever driven in a car, at least a manual car. And the clutch has decent travel. It's not crazy. It's not too short like in the Toyota 86, for example. And it's not too heavy. It's decent. It's not too bad. But shut up. Oh yes, there's a cop. Heading spot, man. Now this car has 2 driving modes. Normal and sport. There's a quick little button right here you push, and it says sport on it. And you push sport, and what happens? What happens is the suspension gets noticeably firmer. The exhaust kind of opens up, at least on idle it does. I don't know about in the real life application, because it sounds just as good of a sweetheart as it always did. And it's not any louder either. But it's noticeably firmer, and it just feels a little bit sharper. When you drive this car in normal mode, it's just not as ready to go, and it's more just wants to cruise. And this car, by the way, is an excellent cruiser. It really is. I mean, the suspension isn't, you know, it's not a Rolls Royce, but it's really comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. They have 14-way adjustment. You get optional 18-way adjustable seats, which is crazy. And you can just do loads of adjustment. You can do the backrest down here. You can do the lumbar, the bolster. Actually, no, you can't do the bolsters, but you can do like a lot with these seats. And this car is so practical. It's not too low. It doesn't even have a nose lift. And honestly, I don't think you really need it. You might need it in a GT3 because it has a really low front splitter. But this car, it goes over every bump, and you don't even need to worry. Like, here's a bump right here, and I'm going at a reasonable speed. I'm going like 15 miles an hour. In a lot of other sports cars, you would need to angle it and go like 2 miles an hour, and everyone hates you, and it sucks. But this car is just so easy to live with. And to be honest, I think it's just too perfect. I think that's the problem with this car, is that Porsche made it so good in so many ways, it just doesn't really excite me in any way. The interior is fantastic. The driving experience is fantastic. It's got just the right amount of horsepower. It's got one of the best manual transmissions I've ever driven in a car. It's got a great clutch feel. It has a great exhaust note, at least induction noise on the inside. And it looks great. There's nothing really wrong with this car except for maybe the price, but if you can afford this car, then that's not really a big issue. But this car, it's a great car, and if I were to say, you know, I want to get a sports car that's practical and blah 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 blah, and it's not gonna shake my head every single time I drive it and all that jazz, I'd say get a Porsche 911. Oh wait, I found one flaw with this car. It doesn't have a backup camera. It's a 2014, and backup cameras weren't regulated at the time, so backup cameras can be quite annoying not having one. All right, so now I'm on my iPhone, so I don't know if the audio is gonna be any different, but I'll show you guys around this interior of this car. So first of all, you have this optional sports steering wheel, which is a must. The original non-option steering wheel looks absolutely hideous. The only steering wheel in a Porsche that looks more hideous is the one from the 964. That is atrocious. But this, it has no buttons on it, and it's so simple, and it just feels great in your hands. I love how it looks. Get this steering wheel. If you are looking at a used Porsche, get one with this steering wheel, please. If you don't, I don't know. It's a great car, but just please get this steering wheel. It looks so much better. But I want to talk about this parking brake situation. So it's electronic parking brake, and you have to push it up to turn it off. Oh wait, you push it up to turn it off, and you activate it by pulling it up. You would think that pulling it up would activate it, and pushing it this way would deactivate it, but no. And you saw on video, I messed up. It's just really a little confusing and you have to get used to it. And especially if you aren't driving this car all the time like I'm not, it's a little weird to get used to. But everything's well laid out. You have window switches here, 2-person memory. You have a Bose sound system. Over here you have some door pockets. And over here you have some more storage, and then there's one on the other side as well. Not a great anywhere really to put your phone except for in here, which is a bit annoying. So, and this really doesn't hold anything, maybe except for like the key to this car, or like a GoPro battery, I guess, for the GoPro over there. This is the infotainment system. This looks a little bit intimidating because there's a lot of buttons. However, when you know the car and you know where everything is, it's actually really easy to use. The infotainment system is okay. It's not the easiest infotainment system to use, but it's okay. And I'm going to show you the gauge cluster for a second. So you have the classic 5 Porsche dials. You have the tachometer dead center, which is very important, and then you have the speedometer off to the left, which is honestly very weird to read in terms of the speed. You have 25, 50, 75, and 100. And but you have digital speed here, so I don't ever even look at that. And then this display you can actually change using this stock down here. And you have a bunch of things. So you have your song, and you have your phone, I guess, and then you have the navigation, which is really cool, and you can zoom in and out, which is really pretty cool. I don't know how to use it very well. And then you also have some vehicle information like engine temperature and more temperature, and honestly PSI and your battery voltage, which I honestly don't understand. But I honestly like to keep it, oh yeah, and your tire pressure and just some MPG, which is not very good. And navigation, and then this map again. So very, very cool. And also I'm going to show you guys something a little up here. So these are actually air vents, and they really cool down the cabin really quick, especially in Florida where AC is very important. So that's important. And this, I don't know if it's a speaker, but if you get the optional Sport Chrono package, there'll be a little clock here. And it's actually really well done, knowing it's not even there, but it looks pretty good. And down here we have a lot of carbon fiber, which looks amazing, especially in the sun as it does now. And there's the glorious 7-speed manual transmission, which feels amazing. And you have a bunch of buttons down here like sport mode, traction control off. This is to raise the spoiler, and this is to turn off, I think, the auto start stop function. And these are a bunch of blank switches, which I'm not a fan of. I don't know why Porsche does this. It really makes it look a lot cheaper than it really is. You have a little Carrara badge right here. In here's the glove box, decent size. You have a 12-volt for our radar detector up here. And these are the cup holders, which I love. Porsche does them really well. So you have 2 cup holders right here, and you're like, oh, wait, well, this is so ugly, but you can put it back up. And you can do it with just one, which is just brilliant. Porsche over-engineering their Germanness. Here's what the seats look like. Here's a bunch of things in here, and it has back seats, which is kind of crazy. And look at this headliner. It's suede or Alcantara, and it's absolutely gorgeous. This is the sunroof. It doesn't have glass, but you can put it down with this control here. You can put it up, and then there's the Florida sunshine. Beautiful day today. And we can close that back up. Okay, so I'm sat in a parking lot somewhere, and I have the sticker for this car, and I'm gonna go through some of the options that this car has. And this car is not actually optioned out crazy. So the base price of this car is $84,300 in 2014. It has, the wheels are around $2,700, which is definitely a great big option. You have wheel center caps in Porsche Crest, $185. The sunroof up here, if you want that, it's $1,490. If you want Power Steering Plus, which I have no idea what that does, $270. Sport Design Steering Wheel, this amazing steering wheel that you should get, $250. I actually don't think that's that bad, especially considering how expensive Porsche options can get. Get this steering wheel, please. The 14-way power adjustable seats with memory package, $2,320. The premium package, $2,330. Bose audio package, so it's pretty much, it gives you a Bose sound system, $2,120. If you want the bi-xenon headlights with black tint, $715. And this car's MSRP as it sits with the destination charge of $995 is $97,705 back in 2014. And while I'm here, it gets 22 miles per gallon combined, 19 city and 27 highway, which is not bad considering how this is a sports car, not a Prius. What are you getting for your $100,000 in this case? You're getting quality. This car craftsmanship is absolutely fantastic. The interior, every little switch is just damped so well, and everything feels high quality. That's the reason why you're not getting a lot of horsepower, because if you were, they'd be charging $200,000, and they can. Because I spec'd a 992 Carrara S on Porsche's website, and Porsche, if you're a car enthusiast, you know Porsche has plentiful of customization options. So I went all out on this Porsche 992, and it was not even, it was just a Carrera S, nothing, you know, not the turbo, not the GTS, they haven't come out with them yet, but just the S, and I got up to $184,000. What? That's like an MSRP of a 911 turbo of this generation. That's just insane. That's just crazy. Everything's so much more expensive now. It's crazy. This car was $100,000 and it's just a base Carrera. So now I'm going to take you around the exterior of the Porsche 911. You've all seen one probably, most likely, unless if you don't live on Earth. So here's the Porsche 911. It's a 2014, as I said before, is black on black. So these are the $2,700 wheels, and I think they look pretty good. I think there are better looking wheels out there, like the turbo wheels, but these actually look really, really, really nice. But I'm comparing good to the best wheels. But my favorite part about this car is actually these lights. So these you cannot get with the really nice headlights with the 4 dots. So these do not have the 4 dots, but it has really, really, really nice LED turn signals and DRLs right there. But one weird thing about these headlights is the high beams are actually halogens in yellow, which looks kind of funny on a $100,000 car in 2014, but no matter. So the car is black, and this looks really nice. It's done very tastefully, and you have Porsche crest there, same around the other side. And what's really weird about these door handles, and so here's the button that you push to lock it, but it also has the proximity sensor. These go up, which is kind of weird. But so here's the inside. I already gave you guys a tour of that. And then here is the back of the car. So here is the Porsche logo in silver. Here's the engine, which does not have much, and I'll pop it in a second. So here's the back of the car. There's the exhaust. It's not quad. It has these 2 rectangular exhausts, which look nice, but I think the quad exhaust definitely looks way, way nicer. But so I'm gonna pop both compartments. So here's the front and here's the back. And here are the seat controls, by the way, 14-way power adjustable seats. Got nice aluminum pedals. This is how you start the car. It's like Le Mans, where it's like faster, and like they just keep it in the road cars. I don't understand. It looks like a key, but it's not, which is kind of weird. But so here's the front, the fruit. I guess if you're in the UK, it's kind of hard to do this with one hand. So here's the trunk, which is actually pretty large, and you can also fold the seats down, and you have quite a bit of storage. Here's the sticker of the car that I was reading earlier, and that's to get out, I guess, if you are trapped in here. Really nice. And here is the back of the car, which has nothing really in there at all, except for some, I think it's some fluids. And it says Carrara 3.4, it'd say 3.8 if it was the S, and some fans, and that's really it. Nothing exciting, which is kind of a shame, because in the 997 you had a beautiful view of that flat 6, and now you got nothing. There's one problem with this car I do have, though, and it's the sound it makes. I was acting like a kid on Christmas Day with the noise that this car makes, and it sounds fantastic on the inside, but on the outside, this car sounds like a vacuum cleaner. It really does not sound that good. But on the inside, listen to this. Oh, it sounds so good. Oh my God. Oh. It's just not loud enough. It needs an exhaust, and the Carrera S has a sport exhaust exhaust option, which you should get ASAP, or get some kind of aftermarket exhaust. It doesn't need crackles, and I honestly don't think that you can get crackles, but you don't need it. It just, this noise, it just needs some more volume. Can you imagine this thing with an exhaust in a tunnel? Oh. Hey guys, I'm really sorry that I forgot to finish the video, but in short, Porsche 911. It's such a good daily driver and such a good sports car. It's just an all-in-one package that honestly nothing else can really deliver. The Jaguar F-Type, the interior is not as nice, and the rest of the competition doesn't even come close. The Porsche 911 has outsold the class, and so many people, at least where I live in Boca, I see so many doctors and dentists driving the 911. And unfortunately, it's not a manual version, but they're just so nice to drive, so nice to look at, such a great interior, and it's such a great product, and the quality's there. Porsche really knows how to make a good product, and they've been making this product for years, racing at Le Mans. So Porsche knows what they're doing, and that's the reason why the Porsche 911 is the greatest sports car of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.